All right, Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Shem Mashiach Malak Yahushai. That is to say, Yahweh, been named the Heavenly Father, who the world will call God, and Yahweh Shai, been named His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. This is Brother Kesadi from WFI JERSEY, Philly.
And Brother Yazra.
Brother Yatazama.
Khan, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, we're going into life and death in the power of your tongue, and knowing how to control your tongue, knowing how to control your words, right, and using wisdom when you do speak, right? Because there's a lot of accounts in the scripture where men, they may speak presumptuously, men, they may not hold their tongue, they may not know how to keep their foot. The Lord said, can a brother actually go to let me get a couple precepts, I'm gonna pass it. Can you go to Job chapter 13 and verse 16? Right. So the Lord, He makes it very clear that we can't just speak whenever we want to speak or say anything we want to say. You gotta refrain yourself. You gotta know when to speak and when not to speak. Can you bring this out, King?
This is Job chapter 13 and verse 16.
Right.
He also shall be my salvation, for an hypocrite shall not come before him.
Right.
Here,
Salaki. I went Job 13:13. Salaki.
Job 13 and verse 13. Hold your peace.
But the Lord say,
hold your peace.
Right, read on.
Let me alone, that I may speak, and let come on me what will.
Right. So when you read the book of Job, there's a lot of accounts where Job, and I forget the other brother as well, later on in the book of Job.
Elihu.
Say it again?
Elihu.
Yeah, Elihu. You're right. Where men, those men, they refrain themselves. Just because you can say something in that moment doesn't mean you have to say something in that moment. Just because if the cop pulled you over and you know that you wasn't in the wrong, it might not be time to speak, right? It might be time to refrain yourself, hold your decorum as Hebrew Israelites, as God shows them people, knowing when to speak in season and out of season. The Lord even said, let's somebody get it real quick, St. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 25. Just to link it up before we continue on, just to lay the groundwork, that is very important to know, again, when to speak and when not to speak. You can bring it up, okay?
This is book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him.
And we understand this is on a literal level, right? When you dealing with an adversary as far as Esau, the system, even your boss at work, you gotta just, you gotta continue to hold it down, pretty much, right? But the understanding that we're getting, that lesson that the Lord has given us, is that when you do agree with your adversary quickly, when you're with him, it's showing you that you have to be reserved. That's a part of the fruits of the spirit, to have patience, right, to be long suffering, right? So when a man is knowing how to, if someone is just blurting out whatever comes to their mind and deal with the repercussions later, that's going to ultimately end up bad for that brother, right? There's judgment that can be cast upon that brother just because he wasn't using a proper judgment, a proper discernment, really, in that moment to refrain his speech. Right, read on, King?
Lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison.
And on a spiritual level, the Lord can deliver you to an angel,
right?
And then or the angel can deliver you to the Most High, really. And then now the offense that you said or whatever you did with your tongue, and the Most High can bring judgment upon you and cast you into a spiritual prison, which is really going into the spirit world. The Lord can kill you. You can say certain things and it's not in season, and the Most High get up with you and take your spirit away from you. So that's why it's very important to know that life and death is in the power of the tongue. The brother's got it.
Can a brother go to James, the 3rd chapter? Start, I believe I want verse 5.
Movie for you.
It's the book of James, chapter, you said 3 and 5?
3 and 5, come on.
Chapter 3 and verse 5. Even so, the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things.
And does what?
And boasteth great things.
And the Lord said that the tongue is a little member, but it can boast great things. Read.
Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue amongst our members.
So is what?
So is the tongue amongst our members.
So the tongue is not a big body part. It's not bigger than your arms. It's not bigger than your hand. It's not bigger than your legs, but it can kindle great fire. The Lord, he's likening the tongue to something as a fire. When you have a little fire and you leave it alone and there's a little wind that comes out, it could spread. Next thing you know, you have a small house fire. Next thing you know, there's a whole forest fire. The same thing with the tongue. We have to understand that the tongue is destructive, man. A few words out of season, a few words that are saying things that aren't right in the eyes of the Lord can lead to destruction. Let's keep reading, King.
That it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. For every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed, and have been tamed of mankind.
So the Lord says that everything has been tamed through the beasts of the sea, the beasts of the land. These things, they can be tamed. But what?
But the tongue.
But the what?
But the tongue
read.
Can no man tame.
Can what?
Can no man tame.
And the Lord says no man can tame the tongue. And that's true on a certain level, man. Even brothers up here, there will be times where we'll slip with the tongue. You'll say something you don't mean. And we've seen it when we go out to teach, man. You might say something that you ain't really mean to say. You might mispronounce a precept, and you'll say, I'm roughly paraphrasing it. Even that's a slip of the tongue. No man can fully control his tongue. At times, the tongue is going to slip, man. But the Lord says that no man can tame it. Let's keep reading.
But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil.
It is a what?
It is an unruly evil.
And the tongue can be unruly and an evil. Read.
Full of deadly poison.
And full of deadly poison. Which is why it's important that you have to try to control your tongue as much as you can. It's not going to be 100% perfect. But you got to get in order with your tongue, man. You got to make sure that your tongue, it's not just saying whatever it wants to say.
Right. It's
just saying whatever comes into your mind. Can the brother go to Proverbs 10 and verse 19?
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 10 and verse 19. In the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. But he that refraineth his lips is wise.
The Lord says when you have a multitude of words, a lot of sin can come upon you. You don't need any more sin when you're just talking a lot. Why? Because sin is going to be at your doorstep. Every single time you open your mouth, you might be saying something that's going off. But when you refrain your lips, when you close your mouth, when you understand the situation, the Lord likens you as to being wise. Keep reading, King.
The tongue of the just is as choice silver.
What did the Lord say?
The tongue of the just is as choice silver.
And the tongue of the just is as choice silver, meaning it's not all over the place. It's not over here and over there, and you can find it on the ground. The tongue of the wise, it's rare, man. Right. Meaning they don't say a lot of words. They're not saying things are just out of season. They're not saying things are just off. You're looking at Brother Wise is still talking. He's been talking for 20 minutes straight. They're saying whatever comes in his mind, man. Man, the Lord doesn't need brothers like that, man. He needs men that have choice words. Because a man that's just talking and just laying out everything with his tongue, man, that man can be easily overtaken, man. That man can easily set things off. The brother, he brought a good scenario with the police. And the police pull you over and you just got a brother talking at the police. For lack of better terms, talking shit. Talking trash to them. And next thing you know, they put you in handcuffs and you're back of the police cruiser. You can't be like that. You have to be a man of choice words, like choice silver. Keep reading, King.
The heart of the wicked is little worth.
I believe there's one more on that.
The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom.
And the Lord said that the lips of the wise can feed many. A brother that talks with wisdom and says words in choice season, those things, they can feed a lot of people. A lot of men are going to come to you and seek for wisdom, ask you for advice. But a man that's just spilling out words, man, he's always going to want for wisdom. He's going to want to gain something. Why? Because there's no control over his tongue, man. We have to be more in control of the things that we say in order to be righteous and wise in the eyes of the Lord. It's an important part of this ministry. Like the brother said, the fruits of the Spirit, a patient man, one that isn't moving and just a hasty like spirit to say whatever he wants to say. But you got it, Ken.
All right, somebody give me Proverbs 13, verse 3.
That's the spirit.
All these brothers, like the brothers are saying, the tongue, it can get you in a lot of trouble. And if you learn that from when you were a little kid, right? To watch what you say, to choose your words wisely. Why? Because it's in the scriptures, but that's just something that's even commonly known to man is that you got to watch the things you say. All right, can you give me Proverbs 13:3?
And it's the book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 3. Mm-hmm. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life.
What did that say?
He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life.
Right. Even when you go into the world and into the streets, the one that's always talking the most, he's usually the one that dies first. Right. You go into these movies, and when you're dealing with corrupt cops and you're dealing with them, and they're dealing with drug dealers. Hey, the first one to get killed is the one that's talking too much. Why? Because people don't they're bound, like the brother read. They're one to in the multitude of words that one to not sin. Right. You talk too much, you're gonna end up saying something that somebody don't like. Right? There's a scripture that say I think it's Sirach 28 and 22, I believe. It says to weigh your words in the balance, because you all throughout the scriptures, the Proverbs, the Psalms, all the wisdom, it tells you that that your tongue, it can get you in trouble. That there's life and there's death in the tongue. I think, is that what I want?
Yeah, come.
Yeah.
This is Sirach chapter 28, verse 25.
Okay, come.
It says, "And weigh thy words in
start at one.
Verse 24. Look that thou hedge thy possession about with thorns, and bind up thy silver and gold, and weigh thy words in a balance."
And do what?
And weigh thy words in a balance.
Right. Even when you go, let's keep talking about the world, and you look at intelligent men and they're asked questions, you might see them do this, or they might wait a little bit to gather their words when they're trying to give answer. Why? Because you're supposed to, again, you want to be wise with your words, because people, they listen to those words and they're going to hold those words against you. Even the Most High, we're going to read, he's going to hold those words against you, whatever you speak. Right. All right, read on.
Reading on. It says, "And make a door and a bar for thy mouth."
Do what?
And make a door and a bar for thy mouth.
What does that mean? Make a door and a bar for your mouth. Meaning, when you go to a jail, they got doors, they got bars. So what? So men can't easily escape.
Right.
When you go, when it's saying make a door and bars for your mouth, it should be that words can't easily escape your mouth. Right? You gotta. There's a scripture too. It says, "With patience give answer." If you know what I'm talking about. It might be. Can you give me Matthew 12 and 36 though, as we're waiting? If you can find it. But yeah, you want to weigh your word. You want to think about what you're going to say before you say it. We're going to read. Fools just they just say whatever they're going to say, like the brothers are saying, and they don't give a damn what they say. They don't give a damn what the repercussions is. There's repercussions for the words you speak. Right? Can you read that in Matthew 12 and 36?
This is Matthew 12 and verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
Right. So the Most High, if man is holding words against you, how much more the Most High?
Right.
The Most High, every word you speak, the Most High is weighing that in the balance to see, because even Yahweh Shai even says, he teaches the things that are in you, but it's going to spill out of you.
Right.
So the words you speak, and you can judge a man, and you can try a man just by the words he speaks. You're going to know what's in a man by what he's saying, by what comes out of his mouth. Did you find?
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, read that.
And it's the book of Sirach, chapter 5 and verse 11. Be swift to hear, and let thy life be sincere.
Right, go on.
And with patience,
do what?
And with patience, give answer.
Right. See that. So I was making a point that when you see intelligent men, whenever they're asked a question, and maybe they might be in an interview or they might be in a sit down, whenever they're asked a question, they take their time to give answer. They're not just blurting something out. Right. They're taking their time, formulating their thoughts, gathering their thoughts. Why? Because that's wisdom. Because those words that you speak, those words come to life, and those words have meaning. So men, they're going to hold those words against you. And again, how much more the Most High? Right. I think it's Wisdom of Solomon, the first chapter, where the Most High says that the ear of jealousy, hear all things. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
It should be just the book of Wisdom of Solomon.
I think it's the first chapter.
Let me see. I might look it up real quick for you.
Oh, I got it.
His first chapter, verse 6,
verse 8.
And this is Wisdom of Solomon.
Matter of fact, 6.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse number 6. For wisdom is a loving spirit, and will not acquit a blasphemer of his words. For Yahweh is a witness of his reigns, and a true beholder of his heart.
See that? So the Most High, he knows the true intensity of your heart. Right, go on.
And a hearer of his tongue.
And what?
And a hearer of his tongue.
See that? So the Most High, he's a witness of your heart, and he's a hearer of your tongue. So the Most High, again, he's weighing your words. He knows what you speak. Go on.
Reading on. It says, for the Lord it's like, for the spirit of the Lord filleth the world, and that which containeth all things had knowledge of the
He
voice.
said that was contained. Who's that? The Most High. He has knowledge. He formed the voice, right? He formed you, and he formed the things you speak, so he knows what you're going to say. Go on.
Therefore, he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be
You
hid.
see that? So if you speaking unrighteous or things that are out of turn, the Most High, he's taking knowledge of that, and you can't be hid. Go on.
Neither shall vengeance, when it punisheth, pass by him.
You see that? So the Most High, when it's time to punish you, it's time to take vengeance. The Most High, again, he's going to hold those words against you, whether they be good or whether they be evil, like the scriptures read.
Right.
So you got it, King.
Is
there more?
Yeah.
Okay, read on.
I'm gonna jump to verse 10.
Yeah.
For the ear of jealousy heareth all things,
Mhm.
and the noise of murmurings is not
You
his.
see that? So whether you murmuring, whether you backbiting, whether you just speaking evil, we just read in Matthew 12th chapter, in the day of judgment, what? You're going to be justified or you're going to be condemned by what you speak.
Right.
So this is why we're going to this lesson. There's life and there's death in the power of the tongue, right? So you have to have discipline. That's where the fruits of the spirit, like the brothers are saying, self-control, temperance, that's one of the fruits of the spirit. And that's also controlling your vessel, controlling your tongue, right? And the things that you say that come out of your mouth. What you got, King?
Can you go to Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 13?
And this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 13. The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble.
But the what?
But the just shall come out of trouble.
The Lord said the wicked, they can be snared by the transgression of their lips. Like brothers is bringing out, when you don't refrain yourself and holding yourself with really examining the matter and then speaking upon it, you just speaking, you blurting out things, that can jam you up, right? You could say certain things. Even the Lord said when you deliver it up. Can a brother real quick go to St. Matthew, the 10th chapter? Yeah, St. Matthew chapter 10. We're gonna come back to Proverbs, but Matthew 10, and I believe I want to start at let me see. I want to start at 20. Matthew chapter 10 and start at verse 22.
This is Matthew chapter 10 and verse 22. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Salaki, I want you to jump a little higher. Go to verse 18.
Verse 18. And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak.
No, meditate upon it.
Take no thought how or what ye shall speak.
Right, read on.
For it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak.
And when you look at Yahweh Shai, when he was delivered up, literally the Lord moved with how you should move with the wisdom you should move with each and every day. The Lord didn't just blurt out anything. Pontius Pilate asked him various questions, and he sometimes he didn't speak, or other times he would say, "Thou sayest." Right. You said that. You said, "I'm the King of the Jews." Right. And he ultimately showed how we should refrain ourselves in key moments. So when there's a time coming when the Most High has it delivered up, the Lord said, "Don't think upon what you shall say and what you shall speak. The Most High is going to give you what to say and speak." So if you can refrain yourself in even these small moments, whether you get pulled over by the police, whether you're talking to a brother, the brother making you upset, you should refrain yourself and meditate upon these precepts and use wisdom when you speak. Think upon the Lord. Think upon what the Most High may want you to do right then and there. It may be to say nothing. It may be to keep your words very short and sweet. Because if you start to speak and you go on and on and on, the Lord said in Proverbs 10:19, in a multitude of words, there are lack of not sin, or wants of not sin. To want something, meaning really the lack. Right. So you keep on speaking, blurring things out, it's going to be somewhere along the line you may slip up. Right. So let's go back to Proverbs chapter 12.
Proverbs chapter 12, you said 13?
Yeah, come on.
Proverbs 12 and verse 13. The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble.
But the what?
But the just shall come out of trouble.
And the just will come out of trouble from their lips. They'll know how to speak in season, out of season. Even Paul, right? Knowing that life and death is in the power of your tongue. On the opposite end, it may be a time where you do need to speak up a little bit. Right? Like Paul, like I mentioned, when he was dealing up to King Agrippa, right, who was an Edomite, he said, "I would that you were a Christian as I am," paraphrasing. So what is he saying? He doesn't really mean for him to be a Christian. He know he can't follow the Lord, but to use wisdom in that moment. And he was using a little bit of guile to try to get himself out of that situation, not to be delivered up to Jerusalem. Right, read on, King?
God. A man shall be justified with good by the fruit of his mouth.
Right.
And the recompense of a man's hands shall be rendered unto him.
Because everything we say, we do, that's going to be recompense to us. The Lord says he has angels recording all of our works. Can somebody go to, or can you go to Job 19:23? Sorry. Job chapter 19:23.
This is Job chapter 19 and verse 23.
Right.
Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book.
So your words that are written down and are printed in a book. Every work that you do, they're written down against us, right? Whether they're for us or against us. Remember, the Lord said in Revelation 14 that our works do follow us. So how much more the words that we speak? The Lord has a book of remembrance written for that. Let's read that again.
Come on. Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graved with an iron pen and laid in the rock forever.
Right, read on.
For I know that my Redeemer liveth.
Actually, you rest right there. So the Lord said your words are written like an iron pen or with an iron pen and lead in a rock forever.
Right.
So that's why you want to be cautious of the word you speak. The Lord said every idle word that man shall speak, they should give account thereof in the day of judgment, like Ezra brought out. So we got to know that it's very important to use wisdom, knowing when to speak, when not to speak, knowing the proper words to say, when not to say, knowing not to just speak from your heart. Because a man's mind can give him more than I don't want to paraphrase it, right? I know it's in the book of Sirach, but when a man just giving himself over to speaking from his mind, it can go all over the place. So I want to get one more precept on that. Go to the book of go to Malachi actually. Malachi chapter 3 and verse 16. Right. So it's very important, especially the times that we living in. You don't want to just say any old thing, right? Any old thing. And we know this too, that Esau, they're going to try to use our words against us. Before we get this, let's go to St. John chapter 15. Before we get this real quick, St. John chapter 15 and verse 20.
And this is St. John chapter 15 and verse 20. And it reads, remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you.
Right.
If they have kept my saying,
if they did what?
If they have kept my saying,
right, read on.
They will keep yours also.
And the they is those that persecute us, but also the they is these angels. These angels are keeping our sayings, like we just read in Job 19:23. The they are the angels that's recording your works, whether it's right or whether it's wrong. And we'll show you that. Let's go to Malachi chapter 3, verse 16.
This is Malachi chapter 3 and verse 16. Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, and that thought upon his name.
So the Lord said, the Lord hearkened, meaning he heard us. It says, and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written for, it's like before him, for them that feared the Lord. So there's, when you speak these words, they go out in the earth, and the Most High hears those things. The Lord said that there's angels recording all of our works. Last precept I'm going to get, Proverbs 15 and verse number 3. You got it.
And this is Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 3. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good.
Right, read on.
A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit.
So knowing that the Lord has eyes, which are his angels, beholding all of our works, whether it's evil and it's good, the Lord also said a wholesome tongue is going to be a tree of life. That's why the things that you want to refrain yourself from speaking the words of this world, right? And we get it, brother. We're in the world, meaning we still got to go to our job. We still have to wake up, go to sleep, so on and so forth, go to the grocery store, X, Y, and Z, where we have children, we have family, whatever the case may be, but we're not of the world. That's what the Lord said in St. John 17. I pray that you don't take them out of the world, but given that they're in the world, they just pray for them to keep them away from the things of this world. Even the book of 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter, it speaks about us knowing how to use the world and not abusing it. So we're here, and while we're here, we want to refrain ourselves from being like others. How do we do that? By observing the things that the Most High told us to do, keeping the laws, knowing how to refrain our tongue, not speaking of the matters of this world and being drenched and enticed with this world. This thing is about to go down. All this is about to go down. So we always focus in our mind upon the world. Then that's the things that we're going to spew out of our mouth. then we spewing out of our mouth, then we're going to be judged whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. If we wrapped up with the latest news that's happening, right, at worldly news, and guess what? The Most High is saying, well, you're really not speaking my words. You're more so speaking the words of this world, and you focus your time on that. So what do you think is going to be your result? What do you think is going to be your reward? Your reward is going to be a worldly judgment. Therefore, you're going to be counted as the people of this world. So we want to be careful with that. The Lord said, a wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. And a breach is something that's broken up. So the Lord can break up your spirit and scatter you and put you back in the world if you only focusing on things that's not wholesome, which is perverseness.
Right.
You got it, King.
And that's a mean precept. That's a mean precept. Proverbs 15:4. That's mean. Go to Proverbs 15, verse 23, though. If a brother can.
And it's the book of Proverbs. Hold on, you got it. Sorry. Oh, I can read it.
Actually, go to Proverbs 15:23.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, and verse 23. A man hath joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season.
And a what?
And a word spoken in due season.
And the brothers, they've been breaking it out perfectly, man. Hey, there's times where you shouldn't speak on certain things. There's times where you shouldn't speak on things that aren't pertaining to the things that we're doing now. Like the brother just said, you're just talking about the world all the time. You're getting around your co-workers. They're talking about women, and you're in there talking about women too, man. All these lewd, perverse stuff, man. That's a word that's spoken out of season. You shouldn't be doing those things, man. We're in the truth. We're pushing towards the kingdom. The Lord, read that one more time, King, the last part.
A man have joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season.
And a word spoken in due season. Read.
How good is it?
How what?
How good is
so
it?
The Lord, he's all about you speaking well in due season, man. Speaking when it's your turn to speak. Go to Sirach 32 and verse 7. And the brother, he brought out the good account with the book of Job, man, and Elijah, man. Hey, there's times when you can't even speak, man. There are times when you gotta wait your turn. There are times when it's not your turn to just utter what you have to say, man. We're gonna read about it. Sirach 32.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 32, and verse 7. Speak, young man, if there be need of thee.
What did the Lord say?
Speak, young man, if there be need of thee.
No, my voice needs to be heard all the time.
Speak, young man, if there be need of thee.
The Lord said, speak, young man, if there be need of thee, man. Hey, there's certain times when your voice isn't needed, man. Hey, this Bible, it gets real. A lot of people, not a lot of people, a lot of brothers and sisters, we've been westernized. They think that our voice matters all the time. Well, I can say what I want when I want. Hey, the Lord doesn't get down like that. The Lord, he's all about speaking in season. Right. And when you speak out of season, the Lord, he can cut you down. Right. He can deliver you up. He can do certain things that you'll be like, well, you'll take a step back. Well, Lord, I thought my voice mattered. That's not true, man. Let's keep reading.
Let thy speech be short.
What did the Lord say?
Let thy speech be short.
No, say whatever's on your mind.
Let thy speech be short.
The Lord said, let thy speech be short. A lot of people that look at this and say, well, that's control. Well, the Lord, they say a lot. They'll say a lot of things. Well, what do you think? What do you mean the Lord said I can't speak? No, the Lord said, let your speech be short. As men, especially, your speech needs to be short. Doing what?
Comprehending much.
Doing what?
Comprehending much.
Don't speak before you know the matter.
Comprehending much.
Comprehending much. You gotta understand certain things before you can speak. You can't just say whatever you want. If you came in this troop saying whatever you want, more than likely you will be out of it, man. You got men that are trying to teach you, and you're saying whatever you want to say. Well, I believe this, and I was like that. We deal with that all the time, man. Those men are prideful. Those men, they don't get the truth because the Lord's not dealing with that, man. Like it says in the book of James, the 4th chapter, 6 on down. The Lord, he deals with those that aren't prideful. He deals with the humble. If a man just comes up and they're speaking everything in the belly, they're not going to get the truth. Why? Because for a season, they didn't humble down and shut their mouth. Put a door and a bar at their mouth like the brother brought in the precept. Let's keep reading, okay?
Let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words. Be as one that knoweth, and yet holdeth his tongue.
And does what?
And holdeth his tongue.
And there might be a time where you might know a scenario. You might know the answer to something, but you have to understand it's not your time to speak. Like Elijah, you might have men. Let's just put the scenario. You might have men that argue about a basketball players or something, and you got one man saying this and one man saying that and one man saying this. Now you see they're in a heated conversation. So in that time, you don't just interject yourself in that conversation and say, well, hold up, I got it. You wait your turn, wait till they're done, and then you interject, and then they'll be able to hear it. But if you were to interject in the middle of it, they might not hear you because they're heated, they're talking, they've been going on for 20 minutes, you just came 5 minutes ago. There's a season and time to doing certain things. And speaking words is in the same manner. Let's keep reading, King. There's more on that.
If thou be among great men, make not thyself equal with them. And when ancient men are in place, use not many words.
What did the Lord say?
Use not many words.
And that's a saying in the world. You can't, let's just say a man, he's been a plumber for 20 years, and you've been a plumber for 1 year. You can't go up to that plumber and say, well, I think this is how you should do it. And you're interjecting, well, this is what I think we should do it. You will use not many words. You will let that plumber of 20 years, you'll let him teach you, and you'll quiet it down. You're not going to be at the job site saying, well, we should go over there. We should do this over here. We should do that over there. The Lord is very, and this all goes back to order too. The Lord is very keen on a man that has to be in order with his mouth, not just saying things out of season. Because there's a certain time and place to say these things. Can you go to Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 27?
I'm there.
Oh, come on, if you can.
This is Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 27. He that had knowledge spareth his words.
What did the Lord say?
He that had knowledge spareth his words.
So when you have knowledge, you'll spare your words. You won't just utter everything in your mouth. Utter everything that comes out your belly. That's a man that doesn't have knowledge. Why? Because he just wants to be heard, man. A man that has knowledge, he's going to use those words like they're gold. Like we read in the precept before, choice silver. It's not just thrown out on the streets. A man that just utters his mouth, it's like pennies, man. You can find that anywhere. He's always talking. Don't be the brother that's always talking, man. Just always talking. Every single time if someone says something, you always have something to say, man.
Right. I got a point.
Go ahead, Ken.
No.
Con.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, Con.
They was like,
Con. Yeah, I got a point. Yeah, like brothers are talking about what's their favorite pizza, and you gotta interject. You 20 feet away. I got a point. Like, come on, brother. Don't be that brother that always has a point, man. Hey, be a brother that will spare his words. Right. Be the brother when you talk. Hey, people they listen, man. Right. They stop talking, man. They said, well, hold on, this brother's talking. I ain't hear this brother talking damn 3 hours, man. Right. 2 hours. And they stop what they're saying and they say, well, hold on, this brother got something to say, man. And they listen. That's how you want to be in this truth. You don't want to be the brother that when he comes around, everyone's like, oh man, this brother's man, he's talking again, man. Nah. You don't want to be that brother, man. Don't utter all your thoughts and your inward parts, man. Let's keep reading.
Reading on. It says, he that had knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit.
Is of a what?
Is of an excellent spirit.
And when you have that excellent spirit, you'll refrain from just uttering your mouth. You'll use your word. Your words will be choice. They'll be in season. They'll be good. They'll be knowledgeable. They'll be for lack of better, choice silver. I already said that, but that's how they'll be. They'll be valuable. That's the word I was looking for. They'll be valuable. And that's how we gotta move in this truth, man. Especially with our tongue. Because when you move opposite, then the Lord, he can condemn you. The Lord, he can get up with you, man. He can hold your words against you. Like the brother brought out in the book of Job, the 19th chapter. Your words are going to be etched in stone, man. You don't want to be looking back on your words and what you have etched in stone is folly and vanity. And words that don't mean nothing, man. And just saying whatever you're saying. Right. Condemning your own self. That would be my last piece of it. Brother can find that. I believe it's Job, the 15th chapter, in verse 6. Yeah, Job 15, verse 6. Because the Lord, we got to understand this, man. Your words, they can condemn you. Stop thinking the things that you're saying, it's whatever. They went in one ear and out the other. And you got angels that are writing down everything you say, which is why it's real important as you grow in this truth to limit your words. Go ahead, Ken.
This is the book of Job, chapter 15 and verse 6. Thine own mouth condemneth thee.
What did the Lord say?
Thine own mouth condemneth thee.
The Lord said your own mouth that can condemn you. The Lord got all the words that you were saying this in folly and you thought they meant nothing, but the Lord, he got out with you about it. Right. Let's keep reading.
And not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee.
What can your lips do?
thine
own lips testify against
The
thee.
Lord said your own lips can testify against you, man. This man, you could look. You could have, and we'll put the scenario out in a carnal sense. You could have got to the kingdom, but your own lips testified against you from getting to the kingdom, man. That would be a heavy thing, and something that you even mean to say, man. Which is why you have to watch your mouth. You gotta watch your tongue. Finish it out, okay? If there's more.
No, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, but yeah, the point is you have to watch your mouth and watch your tongue, because these things it can testify against you. But brothers got it.
All right, can you give me Sirach 21? I think you start at 25. Because like the brother was saying, and that's real. Like, don't be that brother when you come around, brothers like, don't be the brother that's always talking, always have something to say, like always got a point. Because brothers aren't going to esteem the words that you're saying. Brothers aren't going to, more than likely, from what the Bible say, you're going to be counted as a fool. And nobody wants to be around a brother like that, because now people think you know, people are going to think you know it all.
Right.
When you really don't. And your mouth and your lips and your words, they're gonna prove that. Right? Can you read that?
Yeah, I got you. And it's, you want to put it like that, or you want
to
That's good.
That's a good precept, yeah.
And it's the book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse 25.
Right. There's a time to speak and there's a time to keep silent, like the brother he posted. Read.
The lips of talkers will be telling such things as pertain unto, it's like not unto them,
right?
But the words of such as have understanding are weighed in the balance. Are weighed in the balance.
Again, a wise man, they're going to weigh their words in the balance. They're always going to be thinking about what they're going to say next. Or they're going to, if there's a conversation going on, they're not going to be the first person to say, I have a point. They're always going to be thinking, okay, how can I articulate my point?
Right.
Or how can I say this so it makes sense? Right, read on.
Read it on, verse 26. The heart of fools is in their mouth.
What does it say?
The heart of fools is in their mouth.
It says the heart of fools. And when you go into the scriptures, into the Hebrew, the heart is talking about what? Your mind. So what? It says, but read that one more time.
The heart of fools is in their mouth.
So the heart of fools, the mind, the mind of a fool is going to be in his mouth, meaning they're going to speak all their mind. All the time they got to say what they're thinking. Read.
But the mouth of the wise is in their heart.
But the what?
But the mouth of the wise is in their heart.
Meaning what? They're the heart of the wise is. It said, read it one more time.
But the heart of the wise is in their heart.
See that? So they're going to keep their words back.
Right.
The wise men. Their thoughts. They're going to stay in their heart. Right? Can somebody give me Ecclesiastes 10? I think I want to go to verse 14. Right? Because a fool. You're going to know a fool, and that's why it's so beautiful about the scriptures is that it's going to be you're going to be able to discern different men and who you're dealing with, and who you're around. Right. So read that.
You said 10 and what?
I think it's 14, I believe.
And it's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 14. I can start at 13. It says the beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness, and the end of his talk is mischievous madness. A fool also is full of words.
See that? It says a fool is full of words, and that's the same sentiment, the same theme we keep getting through all these precepts. Is that a wise man? He's not gonna be talking much, but a fool, he's always gonna have something to say.
Right.
And men don't like that. I know I don't, and I know most brothers. If you always got something to say, nobody's gonna want to be around you.
Right.
Read.
A fool also is full of words. A man cannot tell what shall be, and what shall be after him. Who can tell him?
Right.
The labor of the foolish worrieth every one of them, because he knoweth not how to go to the city.
I think that's it all that I want on that. But it says a fool is full of words. So you got to temper your spirit. And again, it all goes back to self-control. Again, like I said earlier, you want to temper your spirit and think about what you're going to say. And also, brothers and sisters, you got to remember, it's not even about what you're saying. Is sometimes it's about how you say it and who you're saying it to. Right. Even in scriptures you have, can you get that? I believe that's First Kings, when the kids, second chapter, the children spoke up against Samuel. Are you going to see different things in the scriptures about when men, they speak up? Even David, he didn't even want to stretch forth his hand against, even though he knew he was going to be king, he didn't want to stretch his hand forth against the Most High's anointed. So you have to be wary about who you're speaking to and who you're doing things to, or who you might be talking against. Right. So give me that. Is it Second Kings, the second chapter?
Yeah, come on.
Right. Read
This is 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse number 23.
Go on.
It says, and he went up from thence unto Bethel.
Right. And this is talking about Elijah. Go on.
Elisha.
Elisha. Yeah. Come.
And as he was going by the way, there came forth little children out of the city and mocked him and said unto him.
And did what?
And mocked him and said unto him.
Right. So these kids, they came and they mocked Elisha. Now, did they know they was talking to Elisha? Did they know they were talking about a prophet of the Most High? No. But again, that goes into you got to be wary that you don't even know who you're talking to most of the time. Right? Go on.
Right. It says, and mocked him and said unto him, go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head.
Right. They said, get your bald head ass out of here, basically. And then you think the Most High, he just let that go?
Right.
You won't see.
And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord.
Go on.
And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood and tear 42 children of them.
Right. So 42 children got teared by 2 she-bears just because they spoke against the Most High's anointing.
Right.
They spoke against a prophet of the Most High. Right. So you got to watch what you say because, again, you don't even know who you're talking to. Right. That person that you're talking to, that you're speaking against, that could be Elisha. That could be a prophet. That could be Jeremiah. That could be one of the apostles.
Right.
That could be somebody. That could be John. Right. Yahushua's Yahushua's favorite disciple. You don't know who you're talking to. Yeah. So again, you want to always temper your words and control what you're saying out of your mouth. But you got to keep.
That was a great point. Can a brother can you go to Matthew chapter 25, verse 35? And that is often overlooked, I would say, from my experience being in this truth. Brothers may just speak and not really know, because if the Lord came down and told every man who they were, that would lead to confusion. That would lead to brothers is probably puffing up themselves. God forbid, but they may puff themselves up and say, "You don't know, you know who I am. You know, I'm written in the book of such and such. That's me." So that's not done that way. The Lord has brothers have to yes, your lot is already sealed, and what the Most High requires of you or wants from you, and your destination at the end of the day, but it's not revealed to us right now. So being mindful of that, another key factor, like your Oswald just brought out at the very end, is being mindful of the words you speak to a said brother or sister. This brother or sister could be such and such in the kingdom of heaven. You could be speaking to Peter. You could be speaking to Samuel. You just never know. These are the Most High's anointed, and we saw how the Most High does get up with men like that. Even Shammai speaking against King David, and right before David about to go in the grave, he said, "Look," he told Solomon, "Don't let their hoary head, him and Joab, let them go down to the grave in peace." So he put out a hit on them, right before he gave up the spirit.
Right.
Can you bring this up, King?
Matthew 24, that's like 25 and verse 35. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in.
Right.
Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me.
Right. So Yahushua is breaking down a parable and letting us know that, look, these different things, what you do to your neighbor is what you do to Yahushua. Right. So let's read on, King.
Come. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee in hunger, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
Yeah, what?
Ye have done it unto me.
So the Lord said, as much as you've done or haven't done to one of the least of these my brethren, you've done so to the Lord. So you got to judge that in a balance. When you just coming off grievous, speaking all wicked, perverse words, hey, if you're doing that to your brother, how much more are you doing that to the Lord? When the Lord just told you that as you did it to him, you've done it to a Yahushua himself. So it's wise to refrain yourself and be slow to speech, the Lord said. Can you go to James chapter 1 and 19?
James 1 and 19. This is James chapter 1 and verse 19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath.
Right, and these things are put in a specific manner, because when you are slow to speak, you can give you're allowing the spirit to move right within you. You can meditate a little bit more. If I'm just blurting out the first thing that pops in my mind, 9 times out of 10 is not going to be the right thing to say. you're just speaking presumptuously and letting you really being self-willed. The Lord doesn't want someone that's just self-willed. Actually, let's go to that. Let's go to 2 Peter really quickly. 2 Peter chapter I think it's 2 and 20.
2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 20.
Not 20. 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 10.
Verse 10. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh, in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous are they.
What the Lord say?
Presumptuous are they.
To be presumptuous meaning you're moving without order. You're just moving in haste. You don't want to be presumptuous. So the Lord said, these are those that walk after the flesh. Presumptuous are they. Read on, King.
Self-willed.
Right. Self-willed, meaning you just moving on your own accord. You just forsook the counsel. This Bible is counsel. Literally, if you want anything, you go to Sirach, you go to Genesis, you go to the law, you come over here to 2 Peter. The Lord shows us how to move. And we're still in these bodies. So that's why it's important that we have to read daily. Right? When we're not reading, when we're not meditating or studying, the wisdom is going to escape you. Certain things you may have once always had, it will escape you if you're not always being meditating upon it. Always keep your mind upon it. That's what the Lord said that in Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8. Meditate upon the word day and night. Let not the law depart out of thy mouth. Then shall the Most High make the way prosperous. Then thou shalt have good success. Roughly paraphrasing. Right, read on, King.
They are not afraid to speak evil of dignity.
Right, read on.
Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusation against them before the Lord.
Right, so the Lord, he has these angels record our works, but they don't even bring railing accusation against us. They just they're just writing down what you did and what you didn't do. Right. They're not saying, oh, this man is wicked as hell, he's going off, this and that. They just writing down, okay, this brother did that. This brother did this. He did this. And it's up to the Most High if he wants to forgive you of those sins you committed. So let's read on, King.
But these as natural brute beasts.
And when you moving in the spirit of just speaking your own words, you're moving as a beast. A beast doesn't consider what they're doing. They're a beast for a reason.
Right.
They're base. They just do their own thing. A lion, they have order and rank amongst themselves and amongst the government of being animals, but they're not moving as a man would move.
Right.
That's what the Lord often refers a man that has wisdom or a man that doesn't have wisdom to a beast, because he's not moving with wisdom. Right, read on, King.
Made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption.
Because it could be of your own corruption when you speak things that you don't know.
Right.
That's what we bring it out all the time for a brother that can't. Look, hold your peace. Hold your peace, brother. Keep thy foot when I come into the house of God. And be more ready to hear than to get a sacrifice of fools. In Ecclesiastes 5:1. So you don't want to just speak all off your mind and off the top. It's not a freestyle. You're not Lil Wayne.
Right.
That's what Lil Wayne do. You go in a booth, just speak from the top of his head, and he just saying whatever. And it's for the world, that's a worldly thing to do. But in its truth, look, that's why you got. I'll just leave it like that. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 17:28. All right, let's go to that. Proverbs 17:28.
This is Proverbs chapter 17.
I'm gonna get two more than you got again.
Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 28. Even the fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding.
And we do know men like that. Certain brothers in the camp, they never really speak. And when they do speak, you can see that it's wisdom that normally will come out, because that brother was holding himself in a better light. He wasn't just speaking any chance he could speak. And brothers, I'll say, for even brothers in our own camp, you know when to speak and when not to speak. Every single time is not a time for you just to interject. Right? Maybe it's not about a seniority thing. It's just a matter of using wisdom. Right? Your words can be held more in a higher light if you just refrained yourself and held it down. And then when it's time to speak, you speak. There's times when I'm given chances to speak, I don't speak. Why? Because that's wisdom. That's using wisdom. Everything don't require you to say something. You understand? And that's how we move as a nation. If Yahushua was speaking in the wilderness and you just speaking, Yahushua got a quick point. I mean, I don't know how that may go for you. The Lord may just, who are you to speak against the word of the Most High? Evidently, what he's saying is the right thing. So we got to understand that now, because the Lord said there's still going to be rebels in the wilderness when you read Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. So if you just always got a point right now, what's going to stop you from always having a point in the wilderness? Keep that in mind. Last precept, King. Can you go to Proverbs? It's like a Job 13 and verse 5.
And this is the book of Job, It's like, if you did, can you got it? Well, I'm here. Job chapter 13 and verse 5. Oh, that ye would altogether hold your peace, and it shall be your wisdom.
The Lord said, if you held your peace, it'll be your wisdom. That's what the Lord just said. Even a fool, when he holds his peace or he's refraining himself to speak, that's like wisdom for him. Because that's showing, okay, he has some decorum. He has some understanding to know, I'm not just blurting anything out. If you don't know something, why are you just talking? And if you do know something, it might be wise still to hold it back and let it be done in due season. Like we read Ecclesiastes 3:17. So like let me read it again. Ecclesiastes 3, it's like 3:7. A time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. And this is from Solomon. These are known as wisdom books in the Bible. You got Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Wisdom of Solomon, Proverbs. I may be forgetting one more, but nevertheless, these are known as a wisdom books in the Bible, and it's from Solomon. So evidently, if he's saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, we have to take that as understanding. Okay, this is clearly what the Most High wants us to understand. There's a time to speak and a time not to speak. There's a time to say what I want to say, but there's a time also not to refrain myself and understand, look, it's not wise to do so. Me saying this one thing, it might be a little spark that actually I wanted to get that precept, but let me get that real quick. Sirach 28. Sirach 28, and I think it's and what is that? Sirach 28 and 12.
Sirach chapter 28 and verse 12.
Right, last point.
If thou blow the spark, it shall burn.
Right.
If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched. And both these come out of thy mouth.
And what?
And both these come out of thy mouth.
So knowing when to speak, you could say something and it can start a fire.
Right.
Or you can not say something or say very little, and guess what? It can actually be as water being thrown in that fire and cooling it down and quelling it. So you got to know that, look, just because you have a mouth doesn't mean you need to use it, right? And that's really all I want to know.
All right.
This is going to be good.
Can you go to Sirach 4 and verse 29? Oh,
what the brother got actually?
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 29. Be not hasty in thy tongue, and in thy deeds slack and remiss.
So the Lord said, be not hasty in your tongue, man. And just to wrap everything up, this is the main point we're laying out. Don't just be the man just to utter anything out, man. Hey, sometimes you got say a bar in your mouth, man. Let the brothers borrow on the precept, man. Sometimes you can't be hasty. All the times you can't be hasty. Just saying whatever you want to say, man. Hey, it's a time and season on when to talk. There's a way, like the brother Yazar brought out, there's a way to say things. There's a way, there's people you can't even talk against, man. Like the brother brought out with the two she-bears, man. There are things that you can and can't say to certain people because you don't know who they are. Which is why the Lord said, don't be hasty with your mouth, man. Don't be the brother that's always talking, man. Always saying things. 2 words come out and you got something to say, man. Don't be that brother. Be the brother that will. We bring out these preachers all the time to Jake, man. And I believe you brought that point this out here. Like when we're on the highways and byways and we tell the brothers, you got to watch your foot. How much more us in the truth, man? Hey, we tell a brother, hey, don't interrupt men in the speech. But every single time someone's talking, you got a point to say, man. Interrupting that same brother. I got a point. No, you got to hold your tongue. You got to hold your speech. We got to be in the same manner, us being the bearers of this truth, telling other people to do it. We got to be in that same manner, man. We got to hold our tongues in certain points and times and speak in season. Can you go to Sirach 20 and verse 8, I believe.
8.
This
is the book of Sirach, chapter 20 and verse 8. He that useth many words shall be abhorred, and he that taketh
Start verse 6, Ken.
Verse 6. Some man holdeth his tongue because he had not to answer, and some keepeth silence, knowing his time.
So the Lord says that, man, they'll keep their silence because they'll know their time. They'll know when to speak. They'll know when not to speak. So a lot of these men, they'll hold their tongue. We got to move in that same wisdom. Keep reading, Ken.
A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity.
Till he does what?
Till he see opportunity.
And a lot of times you got to hold your tongue until you see opportunity. Can't just talk and you see no opportunity, man. You have no wisdom. You're not moving in wisdom. Let's keep reading, Ken.
But a babbler.
But a what?
But a babbler
and a fool will regard no time.
And the Lord says, if you're a babbler or a fool, you won't regard any time, man. You'll say whatever you want to say. You won't understand it's not the situation to say it, but yet you're interjecting, man. You understand, hey, look, this brother, he's angry. He's mad right now. Maybe I shouldn't talk to him right now. Instead of understanding that and regarding it, you go up to talk to that brother. Now all of a sudden you guys are in a fight, man. Because you didn't see that brother was moving in the anger. That brother's in the angry spirit, and you went to go kindle that fire, man. That's the things that we're talking about. The things that can jam you up. Go to verse 18 real quick, Ken.
Verse 18. To slip upon a pavement is better than to slip with the tongue. So the fall of the wicked shall come speedily.
The Lord said to slip upon a pavement is better than to slip with the tongue, man. Why? Because the tongue has destroyed many men. Many men. Go to Sirach 28 and verse 18. He's going to get that?
Nah, well, I told it earlier.
Yeah.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 28 and verse 18. Many have fallen by the edge of the sword.
What did the Lord say?
Many have fallen by the edge of the sword.
And if you really think about it, sit down and think about it, you can't count the amount of people that fell by the edge of the sword since the world began, man. You have the book of the wars, man. We even see all the words of the Lord. Imagine how much people died over the course of all these years since the world began that have died by the sword. But he said this.
But not as many.
But what?
But not as many.
Read.
As have fallen by the tongue.
Mean much more have fell just by their own tongue, man. Just from saying things that they shouldn't say. Speaking out of season. Hey, this ain't no joke, man. Like we read in James, the 3rd chapter, the tongue is a little member, but it's likened unto a fire, man. A fire that can spread and can destroy it with wherever it goes, man. There's no control to it. So we have to remember we have to control our tongue because the Lord said many more have fallen by their tongue. Right. Keep reading, King.
Yeah. Well is he that is defended from it and have not passed through.
What did the Lord say?
Well is he that is defended from it and have not passed through.
And the Lord said, well is a man that is defended from that. A man that doesn't have that loose tongue, the untamed tongue. The man that isn't just letting his thoughts just come out of his mouth and then uttering it unto anybody, man. The Lord said, well off is that man. Because that man, he's going to be protected. That man, he's not going to have to fear having to go against somebody because he just said something that was out of season. Now he's in a damn fight at 3 o'clock in the morning in the back alley because he was mouthing off 5 drunk people, man, with knives in their hands, man, saying you won't do nothing. See me back over here. Now he's just talking, man. Now he's in a fight in the back alley, man, fending for his life. You don't want to be that brother. Just getting yourself in every situation because you can't shut your mouth, man. Right. You have to learn when to control yourself. And on a deeper level, you have to know because the Lord, he will judge you in the end times off of the words that you say. Right. But that's all I got, Ken.
I ain't got nothing. I was going to get Ecclesiastes 20.
Actually, I'm going to get that because he didn't start at verse 5.
Yeah.
Can you go to Ecclesiastes 25, Sirach 20, verse 5?
And this is Sirach chapter 20 and verse 5. It says, there is one that keepeth silence and is wise.
Right.
Oh, sorry. And is found wise.
Right.
And another by much babbling becometh hateful.
Right. So you don't want a lot of times, especially dealing with Jake, one of the brothers brought out the point. When you're in the highways and byways and we're dealing with Jake, it can become hateful for a brother just to keep on interjecting, keep on cutting you off. And we understand that this is the truth, right? So even as men, even as ourselves teaching, we got to make sure we hold it down as well because we want to be found wise as well. We understand we teaching the words of the Most High, so that gives us a level of authority. But also, we want to keep in mind that if we following the same pattern that they following in, then we're not going to be counted wise neither, right? So we want to keep that in mind. But can you read it again, verse 5?
There is one that keepeth silence and is found wise,
right?
And another by much babbling becometh hateful.
Right. So when you going on babbling and just talking and just spewing out your heart's desire, that can cause a spirit of hate to be there when it shouldn't be, especially when we dealing with each other in this truth. We got to all understand that we have to apply these precepts, right? The Lord said, can you go to Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 1? I believe I want. Right. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 1.
And this is the book of Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 1.
You can get 3 and 1 actually.
3 and 1. Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 1. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments.
Right. So these are different things that the Most High commands us to do. Right, read on, King.
For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee.
When you understand how to move like this is going to allow you to have length of days, peace, long life added unto you. If you just, because I mentioned it earlier, if you spoke out of season against Yahweh Shai or against one of the 12, when we in the wilderness or whatever the case may be, even now, you just speak out of season, the Most High, you can speak out of season to a judge that's over us, meaning a cop, a damn governor, a senator, whatever the case may be, and they can just strike down a judgment upon you. Now you wasn't using wisdom. Now long length of days and long life isn't added unto you. Now, of course, there's a season to do so. We teaching the Bible, we shaking the hand, we out there teaching, and someone comes up and says, "Hey, you need to stop teaching." Right, a random Edomite just comes up, "Hey, you need to stop teaching." That's not the time where you stop teaching. That's the time where you continue on teaching. Right. So we want to make that known as well.
Right.
But let's read on, King.
Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck.
And we brothers like to put on chains and so on and so forth to show, look, this, you know, it's nice. It's nice to wear a chains, jewelry, so on and so forth. How much more this truth? That should be bound upon your neck as a gold chain. Read on, King.
Write them upon the table of thine heart.
Right, read on.
So shalt thou find favor.
And when you apply these precepts that brothers is bringing out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, you'll find favor. Not just favor in the eyes of man, but of course favor in the eyes of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Right, read on, King.
And good understanding in the sight of Yahweh and man.
Right, you see that? Read on, King.
Yeah. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding.
And when you trust in the Most High, meaning you're trusting in what the Lord has told us to do, and don't lean into your own understanding. Don't say, "Well, I've been such and such," and I, because you can attain wisdom or through experience in the world, but that might not be the wisdom that and experience from this truth, and it can be a disconnect, and it can cause you to be jammed up. We want to obtain what the Lord has told us and lean on that, and not lean on the things that we knew in the world. You understand? So read on, King.
Come. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
Right, here's the point.
Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil.
So you don't want to be wise in your own eyes. You want to fear Yahweh Shemel Shai and not depart from evil. Because again, this is it's a powerful thing for a man that knows how to control himself. Someone that has restraint. Someone that has ability to say, look, I'm not going to give myself over to whatever my flesh is desiring. I'm going to use wisdom. Can you go to Romans chapter 8 and verse 5? Right, Romans chapter 8 and verse number 5.
And this is the book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 5.
And a lot of times, I say it's a lot of different factors that can play. It might be you might be dealing with something in your household. It can be difficult at times, right, to always take the so-called high road. That's what they say in the world. But you just gotta know to do that. That's using wisdom. You gotta know to do that, and you gotta fight your flesh, because your flesh is going to want to do one thing, but your spirit is going to want to do another thing. And that other thing should be a serving Yahweh Shemel Shai and knowing how to refrain myself. They even say in the world, loose lips sink ships.
Right.
So you got to know that you could blow up the entire foundation that was already laid just because for that one moment you just had to get the last word.
Right.
You just had to be the last one to say something.
Right.
It might be a time where your woman, she might be saying something. Hey, look, you just walk away.
Right.
You just walk away. You use wisdom. You know that later on, you know, you the man of the household, so you're going to lay down what has to be said in the house. But it might not be that time right then and there. So let's bring this out, King.
Romans chapter 8 and verse 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit.
Right, read on.
For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace.
When you're spiritually minded, it's going to bring you life and peace. Let's read on, actually.
Sakia. Because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh.
Right, so it's automatically set up to be against the Most High. Your flesh and your heart and your mind's desire, that's going to be against the Lord. So it may be that you just want to say what you want to say and get it off your chest and deal with it later. I've heard that. That's brother, that's probably not the time to do that.
Right.
Or even sister, that's not the time to do that. You got to know to be, as men, we got to be chaste. If women got to be chaste, how much more the man? You got to know how to be chaste, being a shamefaced, not just speaking whenever you want to speak, not just saying what you want to say, and knowing how to go about it in wisdom. You can still get your desire by just waiting a second, being patient. Might not be that time. Look, wait. A lot of times we say, look, that's a spirit. Because we might have thought something, and then the Most High confirmed. We didn't do it right then and there, and then the Most High confirms later on. Like, look, man, that's a spirit. I was thinking about that, such and such. Hey, the Most High must want that to be come to pass. Right, read on, King?
For it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, because neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit.
Right.
If so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his.
Right, you rest right there. Here's the last precept I want. Can you go to Ephesians chapter 4 and 29? Let's get right to it. Right, so Most High Willie being edified, and the brother, I don't know who Wake Up Jacob is.
That's Yashar.
That's Yashar?
Yeah.
All praise to the Most High. The brother Yashar, he's been posting the precepts on the comment board. So Baba Gashad, take notes, right? Because this is for all of our edification, right? So all praise to the Most High. Brother stole the brother's office too. I say that. Kind of raise out, King.
This is Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 29.
Right.
Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers.
Right. So you don't want to let corrupt communication come out of your mouth. And I just want to bring this point out because I was talking about it earlier. If you always minding and talking about the things of this world or the things of the flesh, then that's what you're going to be. It starts with your heart and your thoughts. Then your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions. Actions become behavior, and behavior become you. Right. So we want to be mindful of all of that. And that's something that you may acquire from the world. How much more being in this truth? Where the Lord said that in Matthew the 15th chapter, that what comes out of a man first starts within a man, paraphrasing. Right. So the Lord said, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying. We want to speak the words of Yahweh B'Shem Yashai as often and as much as possible. You know, and we get there's times where, that's why I said as often as much as possible, maybe times where you're at work and you with worldly people or even heathen, you shouldn't be breaking down the Bible to the heathen, to the nations. You telling them, look, you about to go in captivity. Look, you get ready. Look, yeah, you're my supervisor right now. You're my boss, but guess what? You gonna go into captivity.
Right.
No, brother, that's probably not the time to do that because that's just not using wisdom.
Right.
Right. It's not using wisdom. The brother's got it.
Closings?
Yeah, we do want to wrap up. God,
You want to get your source on what?
Yeah, I'll read it. Can you give me Ecclesiastes 5 and verse 11?
God.
Right. So the whole point of the matter is that, brothers and sisters, we got to watch our tongues. When we speak, when we don't speak, how to speak, who to speak to, and how to speak to one another. All right. So can you read that?
You said it 3 and 11, right?
5
and 11. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5 and verse number 11. Mm-hmm. When goods increase, they are increased.
Sirach, yeah.
Oh,
Sirach. I was about to say that. Yeah. You want Sirach?
Con.
What did I say?
Ecclesiastes.
Oh, my bad. Sirach 5 and 11.
And it's the book of Sirach, chapter 5 and verse number 11. No. It says, be swift to hear.
What?
Be swift to hear.
Right. Even in the world, you grew up. What did your parents say? You got 2 ears and you got 1 mouth.
Right.
So you got to be more willing to hear, right, before you speak. You got to be fast to hear. Go on.
Be swift to hear and let thy life be sincere. Right. And with patience, give answer.
Right. So you want to weigh, again, you want to weigh your words in the balance. You want to think about and ponder what you're going to answer, what you're going to say before you just blurt something out. All right, go on.
Reading on. Mm-hmm. It says, if thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor.
Right. And this is teaching you when you should and when you shouldn't hold your tongue. It says, if thou hast understanding, that's when you want to give your brother, your sister, that's when you want to give answer. Read.
If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth.
What did I say?
If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth.
Right. If you don't have something to say, like they say, if you don't got nothing good to say, don't say it at all. Right. So you want to judge the words, again, weigh the words of your mouth and practice that. Like it says, you want to build a bar and a door for your mouth. Just don't let anything slip out of your mouth because, again, the Most High, He's the one that's going to judge you at the end of the day. He's the one that's going to hold those words against you. So you always want to make sure you're being circumspect and you're pondering the words that are coming out of your mouth. What you got, King?
Can the brother get Sirach 37 and verse 18? And like the brother said, you want to ponder what you say. You know, that this is concluded. That's what you want to do, man. You don't want this to be a what do they call it? Crash out. 37. Yeah. They call it crash out, right?
Right.
You don't want to be a crash out with your damn mouth, man.
Right.
The same whatever. You know, you get angry, you say, well, I gotta say what I gotta say, like the brother said, man. Yeah, that's off. Well, I gotta get this off my chest. I gotta say it. No, I have to say it. You got 5 people call me, no, I have to say it. No, you don't want to be that brother. Because more than likely, you're gonna be the brother that comes by and apologizes later. You don't want to always be that brother. Say, I don't really mean what I had to say before. You don't want to be that brother, man. How do you look, man? You said things that you were saying 30 minutes ago. Now you're taking it back. You want to be a man of your word, man. If you're taking back your word every 2 hours and 30 minutes because the things that you were saying weren't wise before, then what type of man are you, man? Brothers aren't going to accept your word anymore. They're going to say, well, this brother, he's always taking it back, man. He's always saying things out of anger. He's always saying things that he doesn't mean. He's always saying things that he has to come back and apologize for later. You don't want to be that brother. You want to be the brother that makes sure that his words are with wisdom. Why? Because the Lord said this. Go ahead, King.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 37 and 18. 4 manner of things appear good and evil, life and death.
Read that slower, King.
Like about that. 4 manner of things appear, good and evil.
What did the Lord say?
Good and evil.
So you have good and evil. Read.
Life and death.
And life and death. And we understand there's countless of, you have Deuteronomy 11 and verse 26. You have countless of precepts where you have good and evil and life and death set before you. But what did the Lord say?
But the tongue.
But the what?
But the tongue.
Read.
Ruleth over them continue.
The Lord said that the tongue will rule over life and death, over good and evil continually, man. Whether if you want life or death, it's going to be found with your words, man. If you want good or evil, it's going to be found in your words.
Right.
I want the tongue that's going to give me good and life, man. Go to Sirach 51 verse 22. That'll be my last one. You don't want the tongue that's leading you to destruction, man, to death, man. That's why the Lord said the tongue will rule over it, man. The words you say, they matter.
Right.
They matter. They're going to lead you into life or they're going to lead you into death. Go to Sirach 51 22.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 51 and verse 22. The Lord hath given me a tongue for my reward.
What did the Lord say?
The Lord hath given me a tongue for my reward.
So there's man that was set up in this earth from the Lord that have tongues that will give them a reward, man. We want to be all the Akim on this that are watching this YouTube that are up here. We want to be those men that have the tongue that will give them a reward, man. Not the tongue that's leading them into the damn the depths of destruction, man, and the grave. You don't want to be that man. You want to be the man that when his lips speak, the Lord is going to reward him because it's leading him unto life and good. Let's keep reading, King.
And I will praise him therewith.
And when you have those, when you have that those lips of righteousness, that the tongue that read that one more time, King, the top, Slakia.
The Lord hath given me a tongue for my reward.
The tongue that will have a reward and whenever you speak. The Lord says, the last part.
And I will praise him therewith.
You will praise the Lord continually, man. All your words will be with wisdom and geared towards Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We want to be those men, man. We want to be the men that when a tongue is ruling over, it's ruling over life and good, man. That's what we want, man. So remember, you have to watch your tongue, Akim, and Akwaf too, man. Go ahead, Ken.
Closing precept. Can you go to Proverbs chapter 13 and verse number 18? So Most High willing, like we said earlier, you was definitely edified through the Spirit, and you took notes because this is of the words of the Most High. This is of Ya'azarah, Yatazamak, myself. This is of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right, so bring this out, King.
This is Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 18. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction.
The Lord can bring you low. He can bring you very desolate, right? Literally remove the understanding from you. Because the true riches is the understanding of the Lord, the wisdom of the Most High. So if you don't apply this going forward, then the Most High said he can bring poverty and even a shameful name to you. Now you got a shameful name because you didn't know how to use your tongue. Now you have a shameful name because you didn't use wisdom when you spoke. Right, read on, King?
But he that regardeth reproof shall be honored.
But you'll be honored if you understood, okay, it might not be wise for me to say this. Let me just maybe speak on it later, or let me meditate upon it some more, think about it from the, to the most, so I can think to the Most High about it, or even praise the Most High, pray to the Lord, and then let me bring it forth. If it's of the Most High. But someone that is not doing that and that's refusing instruction, the Most High said he'll bring you low. Right, read on, King?
So
19.
Yeah, come. Well, yeah, 19. The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is abomination to fools to depart from evil.
Right. So foolish men, they just want to continue to do their own thing. So the Most High is telling us, look, if you're using wisdom, if you're using what the Most High is giving us and applying these precepts, then guess what? The desire, the Lord said the desire accomplished is sweet to the soul. You're going to have joy and mirth and peace and long life, like we read in Proverbs, the 4th chapter or 3rd chapter. So with that being said, Lord willing, everyone, ourselves, you as well that's watching this video, anyone that may watch this video at another time, you understood how to apply these precepts, how to speak in season and not, it's like how to speak in season and when not to speak, and going forward using wisdom.
Right.
Brothers, got anything else you want to bring up? Okay, calm. If you're in Philly, then at 2 p.m. there's I believe it's on 20th and JFK Boulevard, which is right around the corner from where we normally teach at. There's going to be an event. I think it's a Northern Kingdom so-called Hispanic parade that's going to be out there. It's a 2-day event. So we'll be out there, Most High willing, at 2 p.m. Like I said, if you're in Philly, if you're in the neighboring cities, neighboring state, New Jersey, New York City, Delaware, definitely come out, be edified by the words of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And every brother that's in the camp, of course, brothers will make their way over there to secure parking and go about it from there. But with that, of course, we want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Malaki Rashad. This is Brother Kasadi from WFI Jersey, Philly.
Brother Yazoo.
Brother, you talking about?
Kwame Sharala, Shalom.
Shalom.